December 1st, 2017. I find the description of your job title quite interesting. And I wish to know from you, for the period of work you have done, are there any lessons Children on the Street project? Are there any lesson you find relevant that you can imbibe that will be contextualized into your ministry if we grant you passage? Any key lessons?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I think one of the, anyway, in the first place, that was the title, the technical title of the position or the job. One of the key things and key lessons, if I have to sum it up, is the fact that there's a thin line between being okay and being vulnerable. And one of the things that we overlook is that vulnerability can come from separation or divorce, and also non-maintenance, that is lack of child maintenance. And so most of the children street are from broken homes, and some of them are there with single parents. And so the issue of supporting families to survive, have proper income earning activities to relieve them of their vulnerability is important. And then day after day, we need to also ensure that what we know as Africans, the larger family system, we continue to practice it because it helps. Where you hold each other's hands when you nap, you know that your auntie is still your mom and your uncle is your dad. So that in terms of issues of separation, you'll be able to count on somebody to stay off the street.
Mr. Chair, will the nominee be gracious enough to tell me or to tell Ghanaians what your manifesto hopes to achieve in this context?
Thank you very much. I think one of the key things that the manifesto proposes is to have the Orphan and Vulnerable Child Support Scheme. And one of the, it's one of the protective means for children and orphans. And so with this scheme, there will be a special purpose vehicle that will support children in ensuring that they are safe. Not just orphans, but also children who fall prey to child trafficking. And so in the manifesto, you realize that we are going to work to develop a framework to ensure the safety of the vulnerable and also provide support for reintegration and all that. And so that is, in summation, what the manifesto talks about.
Thank you, Honorable Nominee. It's good you spoke to the summary of it, but I want you to flesh it up. The support for the vulnerable child, how, in terms of its implementation, how are you going to ensure its implementation devoid of partisanship? You are going to be there, your party people are going to come with all manner of applications. How are you going to do it to ultimately achieve an approach which will not be partisan or tainted with partisan coloration?
Honorable, let's get the question clear. Is it Ghanaians who are going to go there with Aplin or her party people?
Chairman, I'm sure you listen to me. What I meant to convey the nominee is, I'm being very practical. It's coming on a ticket of political party. And she has already admitted that it's one of the policy directives in the manifesto that vulnerable children will be supported. Honorable nominee, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Are you with me?
Yeah.
Yes. So my question is, how practical could you or will you be able to ensure this is done, devoid of partisanship? That's what I said.
Yes, I now you can go ahead and answer the question.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think for me, everybody who knows me will tell you that I first of all see a person as a person devoid of partisan coloration. So if I'm supposed to serve a particular group of people, yes, Mr. Chairman, for this, you realize that it will be based on need assessment. So if I have people who plainly everybody knows that are from my party, who don't need.
So I want you, my good friend, let me test your understanding. Don't worry, I'll be brief. Just be relaxed, you'll be fine. Your understanding on the school feeding project. You know, it's antecedents and the tortoise path we've traveled to where we are now. What is your appreciation of the high points and low points of the school feeding project?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think the school feeding program is something that all of us appreciate because if a child is not properly fed, it affects the concentration in class. And so for the highs, I would say it's a good project that we intend to improve on. The other side of it is the processes leading to the feeding, ensuring that there's quality and also accessibility and timeliness in terms of the supply is also very important. And so these are areas that I will look at improving and then adding on. Thank you.
Honorable nominee, you have touched on the quality and also timely delivery. I couldn't agree more with you. What is your assessment of the current situation?
Part of my life is also in local governance, and so it comes with decentralization. And I believe that if we are able to effectively decentralize the feeding program, as we are also looking at, it will help us to ensure that it is supplied on time, the food items are supplied on time, and then also we can keep an eye on the quality from the district level. And so I'll be glad to sit with all stakeholders involved to look at how this implementation will work out so that the beneficiaries have the best of it. And then also support those who are the service providers to do what is right. Thank you.
I am aware the
Honorable Chupi, that should be the last question. Thank you.
you don't want me to bring the best out of the nominee. You have already told me that I have 6 questions, and for each of the 6 questions, I have potential follow-ups. Oh, Chairman, don't do that.
That is not the case.
Okay, no
Honorable
problem.
member, when we agreed on something, let's go by what we have
You
agreed
know,
upon. So you have one more
you
question,
know, I
please.
expect
Yes,
you.
yes.
I have one more and potential follow-up.
Yes.
Oh. Honorable nominee, your party's manifesto eloquently speaks to Women's Development Bank. I'm curious about that. What is it modeled on? Is it just an idea you thought you can implement, or there are models across the world that we can all buy into and say that these are practical examples that we can appropriate into our situation? Women's Development Bank. And don't you consider it, with respect to our women here, don't you consider it a discriminatory, where you don't have a counterpart, Men's Development Bank, but rather Women's Development Bank? And you are supposed to, your ministry is supposed to look at both sex.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I think, like I stated earlier, when you look at it critically, the traditional banks or banking system serves men the best. So there's an already existing financial support base that serves the interest of men more than women. I also stated that most of the women are in the informal sector, where we don't have the collateral, where we cannot afford the high interest rates that are being charged in the traditional banking system. And so this is something that will go a long way to help. And I'm glad, and I know the people of Ghana are also glad. And when they see it, will also be glad to see it implemented. I said earlier that my ministry the ministry is one of those that are actually intersectorial. So we depend on other ministries when it comes to things like this. And so the finance ministry is heavy on this, and I'm sure that the needed guidance is given by the finance ministry, and then we will be the end beneficiaries of it. Thank you.
I would have wished to ask you a follow-up, which I know
Please.
will bring the best out of you. Unfortunately, the chairman says no, so I'll respect the directive of the chairman.
Thank you very much. I will proceed to take a question from Dr. Grace Ayen Sudankwa.
Thank you very much. Honorable Agnes Namomo, I'm so happy to see you here today.
Thank you.
I think you're one of the nominees that when I heard it, I was so excited. So thank you for being here. And also I'd like to commend you for your answers, your depth of knowledge of your sector, and some of the answers you've given here is exactly what we want to hear. As a gender advocate myself, I'm so proud to see you here. My question goes to the school feeding again. The people of Iskado Ketana just came back yesterday, and they are asking, when will the school feeding start? Number two, the more important question is, I want to go back to the quality of the food. You know, the school-aged children are the most vulnerable because they are growing. Their bodies are still growing, and specifically their brains are still growing. So it's very important, as a surgeon specialist myself, that we give them a nutritious and a balanced diet.
Doc, your question, please.
Yes, I'm asking it. As we have seen, the food is not very nutritious. So what will you do to ensure that the food is balanced and nutritious? Thank you.
Thank you very much. I can appreciate.
It's a great source of power, adding to your options, knowing that quality and standard remains intact, and our content, which is accepted as truth and accuracy every day, is accessible on the go. Access your favorite daily graphic and our weeklies, The Mirror, Graphic Business, Graphic Showbiz, Junior Graphic, and Graphic Sports on Graphic News Plus app. It's the digital replicas of our work. Download Graphic News Plus app on the Google Play Store, Apple App Store, and available on www.graphicnewsplus.com as you remain abreast of and keep pace with on-the-minute news updates on the go. Home sweet home. Welcome family and friends. Choose the bundle that best works for you from as low as 10 Ghana cedis weekly for unlimited access to all publications. Graphic, truth and accuracy every day. Information is a great source of power, adding to your options, knowing that quality and standard remains intact, and our content, which is accepted as truth and accuracy every day, is accessible on the go. Access your favorite daily graphic and our weeklies, The Mirror, Graphic Business, Graphic Showbiz, Junior Graphic, and Graphic Sports on Graphic News Plus app. It's the digital replicas of our
Development. I can mention Global Initiative on Rights and Development. I can also mention the ACT Foundation and a couple of others, including international organizations, Concern Universal. In fact, I've also had the privilege of consulting along the line for ActionAid Ghana. And so a couple of the organizations, I've worked on DFID projects and so on and so forth. So at every given time, I've had opportunity to support one advocacy issue or the other, whether locally or internationally. And so that has built my experience in child rights advocacy. And I'm not a legal person, I'm sure you know, but it's giving me an opening into what to expect or what to do under every given situation. Thank you.
You've stated your name in full as Agnes Na Momolate.
Yes, sir.
You've also stated your date of birth to be 16th of April 1976.
Yes, sir.
Place of birth, Nungwa, Accra.
Yes, sir.
Hometown, Nungwa, Accra.
Yes, sir.
How did you derive this hometown, Nungwa, Accra?
Mr. Chair, per my basic knowledge, my hometown is where I believe I come from, was born. And so I'm an indigene. My parents are both from Nungwa, and I'm a Ga. And so that is why I stated it there.
So just for the avoidance of doubt, mommy is from Nungwa.
Yes, sir.
Daddy is from Nungwa.
Yes, sir.
Now, I'm a bit curious. My respected colleague, Roxanne Echede Fiamepo, greeted you in a language. I'm quite familiar with the Ghana language. I didn't think that was a Ghana language. Ghana. What language was that, please?
That was Dangbe.
Are you a Dangbe?
No, sir, but I'm in a close relation to Dangbe, so I'm not a Dangbe. I'm a Ga, but it's a close language.
I just want to have clarity. Are you able to speak the Dangbe language, or you are partly from the Dangbe area?
Mr. Chairman, if you look at the languages spoken, that is not there. I have just the basic knowledge to, let me say, understand it. small. And then when you ask me things like what the honorable member asked, I can respond. So that is just my understanding of it. Thank you.
Fair enough. So you don't speak Dangwe?
No, I don't.
Very well. Still on page 1 of your CV. Let's first deal with your MPhil in leadership. I read, MPhil leadership, comma, University of Professional Studies, Accra, September 2014 to March 2017. Full stop. Next line. Research. Column. Women's participation in leadership. Column. Challenges and prospects to the development of Lejokuku Krowo Municipal Assembly. Dash June 2017. I have 2 questions for you there. 1, how was this MPhil program structured? And I'll give you a guide to assist you in the answer that you're going to give. Was this course structured in a thought in part and research in part, or it was a full research without a thought aspect?
There's a thought aspect, and then it also flows into the research aspect.
MPhil program.
A full time, but in the evenings.
Now, the thought part of the program, was it for the first year?
Yes, sir.
Right. Within this period that you were going through this thought program, the 1 year, you were also working?
Yes, I was.
Full time?
Yes.
Where?
I think around that time, I was working with NALAG
Respectfully, as what?
as the General Secretary.
So the NALAG work was not just leadership, but the full-time work.
Yes.
So when you say full-time work, are you referring to 8 to 5 p.m.?
Yes, sir. Or sometimes I start at 6.
6 a.m.
Yes, sir.
So we should assume that you closed from work and attended your evening full-time program.
Yes, sir.
Very well. Now, the year 2 was for your research.
Yes, sir.
Respectfully, honorable colleague, how did you embark on your research?
Thank you very much. I think you submit the research topic for assessment. Once it is approved, you design your questionnaires and then you submit to your supervisor. We go through it and then you go ahead to the field to administer. And then once you've gone through everything, the methodology, everything, you are granted the opportunity to defend. And then once defended, you graduate.
So you've indicated that you ended the program March 2017.
Yes,
Then
sir.
you have also indicated that your research work you submitted June 2017. Please, can you clarify?
There was a bit of a delay. When I was doing the MPhil, I had then applied to Legon, University of Ghana. In fact, it was one of the reasons why I went in for the MPhil, so that it's close to the University of Ghana. Within the period, the PhD program got structured from a 3-year course to a 4-year course. So the waiting period was when I decided to undertake this course. So if you look at it critically, you realize that my final year, that was in 2014, I had to juggle between going for the PhD class and then also doing my research work.
Honorable colleagues, respectfully, it couldn't have been that your final year. It couldn't have been, because if you look at the same CV, the PhD, you've written PhD, Institute of African Studies. And by the way, before I proceed, bear with me. You know, the enterprise we undertake here is a perception-driven enterprise. When you go all calmly, the perception is that we are treating you with kid gloves. If we ask you very strong questions, it is also seen as we being too hard. But I would manage myself, and I don't intend to be very personal, okay? Just understand me, that
Yes, sir.
you are a witness in the box who must answer necessary questions. We are politicians, and we have the public that wants to understand certain perspectives. So I'm limiting myself to the policy issues and then deal with your profile that is getting you into governance. Is that okay?
That's fine,
So
sir.
I mean no ill will. Is that okay?
That's fine.
Very well. So that assured, look at your CV again. PhD, Institute of African Studies, University of Ghana, Legon, September 2014 to December 2020. So if you say that in your final year you had issues, it couldn't have been, because you see, you started MPhil and PhD at the same time. I find that very curious. So it wasn't the case that there was, when you were about finishing one, you started the other, and that is why you had some delay. I want you to have an opportunity to clarify.
Thank you. With the MPhil, I actually started the MPhil somewhere 2013, and the PhD was in 2014. The MPhil coursework was supposed to be...
Honorable member, would you...
Please, Honorable Leader, let's take the answer, then you can do a follow-up. Thank you very much.
Chairman, with respect, as much as possible, I don't want to get into the ocean. I want to guide her. I'll give the same protection that you give her. So please, when I want to help her, allow that. But if you want to open it up, I don't mind. Honorable member, would you want to amend your CV on that aspect, just for the record, so that we don't go deep and deep again? Page 1, I mean, on the start date, would you want to amend your...
Yes, sir.
Very well. I yield to chairman for you to apply for his leave to amend, then I can proceed. Thank you.
Please go ahead and do the amendment.
The MPhil program was somewhere 2013. I was trying to be specific, but the MPhil program is somewhere 2013.
When in 2013, because it's an academic year, it starts from a point. When in 2013, respectfully?
I have September on record, and so
We
I
maintain
want
the
to.
September.
Yes, I want
And
to.
then just amend the year.
Yes, please.
Very well. Any further amendment, please? No, we are staying there for a moment.
Okay.
So I just want you to have the opportunity, apart from the year, the 2013, we are now maintaining the September. So the start date.
The start date, the completion date is not in doubt.
Okay, so you are not changing the completion date?
No, the completion date is not in doubt.
Very well. So let's go to the PhD. Are you maintaining the start date for the PhD as well? And the completion date for the PhD as well?
Yes, sir.
Very well. Now, honorable colleague, do you have your certificate for the MPhil, please?
Yes, please.
What is the date on it for the graduation? The date of the certificate?
20th June 2017.
Now, when you submit your thesis, it has to be assessed. You need some period to defend it.
Yeah.
And when you submitted your thesis for the MPhil, how long did it take you to defend it? The supervisors, how long did it take them to get back to you that they have marked your thesis and everything was okay? Was it a month, 2 months, 3 months, 1 week, 3 days, 1 day?
For the MPhil, I will not have a clear period, but I know that it was between 2 months or 3 months. I can't recollect.
Well, so let's take the minimum of 2 months, the one you recollect. Now, having told this committee that upon submission, it took 2 months for your assessors to get back to you. At least we use a 2 month. Check again on your CV and the certificate you have. Would you want to take chairman's leave to amend your records again? Thank you.
I'm going by what is on the certificate, that 20th June 2017. That is what I have here.
My respected colleague, you had in an earlier answer submitted for records that you were done with your program in March 2017, but your thesis delayed. So you submitted your thesis in June of 2017. In fact, that is what you stated here, that your project work research you submitted June 2017. You have a moment ago also indicated that when you submit your project work, your thesis, it takes about 2 to 3 months. Now here is...
Or more.
Or more, very well, that's okay. I just wanted to use the minimum where you remember. Now, if you submit your thesis in June, and the assessor is going to take 2 months minimum to look at it, mark, get an external assessor to also look at it, which means that in June when you submit it, you would have July and you would have August, okay? Minimum. You cannot graduate in June 2017 and have a certificate which says you have MPhil, you've earned an MPhil in June 2017. Is the reason why I ask you again. Sometimes we all forget. Sometimes we want to be given the chance. It could be that whoever typed your CV made some mistakes. We all give instructions to our secretaries, type this for me, do that. I understand, as an administrator, a leader, there are some errors. So I'm giving you one more opportunity. Would you want to take chairman's leave to amend those records also, because this is going into public records. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. Let me also state that, Mr. Chairman, the 20th June 2017 is the day after graduation when I was given the certificate, but the submission was in 2016. So most often you realize that the year, depending on how soon you submit your project work or thesis, you might not graduate in the same year. And so it is when I was given the certificate that is being referred to here.
Okay, honorable colleague, let's take it step by step. So when did you submit your thesis to UPSA? Which date did you submit your thesis to UPSA?
The submission date, unless I check, but I can assure you that
I would take it that you would come back if you want to come back.
Honorable Leader.
no, leader.
Honorable Leader,
Okay.
with all due respect, let's abide by the rules. If a question is asked, kindly allow the witness to place the answer on record. Then you can follow up with another question where the witness is in the process, or the nominee is in the process of answering the question. Then you come in to say, no. Honorable Leader, with all due respect, I do not think that is the way we should go. So kindly allow the witness to place the answer on record so that the clerks will be able to pick the answer on the record. Then you can follow up. Thank you very much.
When did you submit your MPhil dissertation?
In 2016.
Your MPhil program at UPSA, when did it start and when did it end?
Mr. Chairman, I stated earlier that the MPhil program started somewhere 2013, and the completion, when I said completion, including graduation, was around 2017. If you check the records, I did not even graduate with my colleagues. So I stayed, I had a year delayed or some months or something delayed, but I submitted in 2016.
There's a difference between graduation and submission, which would conclude the program. When did you complete your MPhil program?
I completed in 2016.
Do you remember the month?
No, sir.
Now, honorable colleague, let's go to your PhD. What was your area of research?
I was at the Institute of African Studies, and I looked at the relationship between traditional and local authorities in the management of natural resources. And I had a case study of beaches in Accra.
Can you elaborate on the subject area?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It was basically looking at the commoditization of beaches. And so we all know that aside the beauty or the recreational value recreational value of beaches or natural resources, there's the commercial aspect of it. So basically looking at the challenges in managing natural resources, whether it's the traditional authorities or the conflicts that emanates from the management of natural resources, such as the beaches.
When you say natural resources such as the beaches, management of natural resources such as, I mean, so your research, what did you eventually uncover in terms of the natural resources that you're referring to? I just want you to situate it in a manner that the ordinary person would appreciate exactly what you did.
So it's a qualitative study that sought the perceptions of people in terms of how beaches are managed, and then also the commercial value of it, the challenges that comes out of it, and then the possible balance in terms of how the beaches can be managed to elicit the best out of it in terms of value to the nation. And then the people who are the custodians of it, how the various stakeholders and players in the field can collaborate.
Have you shared the outcome of your work with the tourism authority or the various assemblies to enable them sift out some best practices as a guide?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I've not had opportunity yet. I clearly recollect that I was in Parliament when I had to prepare for my Viva. So that was quite a tense moment for me. And afterwards, it's been community engagement and parliamentary work. So I'm yet to sit and then properly look at it. But I have plans of working with my supervisor to ensure that some quality work is done so that the lessons and publications can go to the various. I'll look at the tourism minister, sit with her, look at some of the lessons and then how best she can inculcate them and we can learn from it.
When you say with your supervisor to ensure that some quality work is done, what exactly do you mean?
We have plans of doing some joint publications, and so I will lean on that.
Thank you. Please, let's go to page 2 of your CV. On page 2, you have primary school, Teshin Estate Preparatory School, 1981 to 1986. Then we have ordinary level certificate, Nungwa Secondary School, Accra, September 1988 to June 1993. I presume you did a common entrance?
No, sir.
Okay. So explain to us from primary, you have a gap of 2 years. So the 86, 87. So there's no school within that 2 years. Then you come to 1988 to 93, which is 5 years, Form 1 to Form 5. So can you explain to us what you did, what schooling you had between that period that your records do not reflect same, please?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Within that 2-year period, there was the new system, which is the JHS. And so having an uncle who is a teacher, he was also an advisor to my father. And so they looked at the benefits of joining the new system. What is missing is that I went to try the new system. And then my uncle moved on to a secondary school called Presby Secondary School, and my dad felt there was I was too comfortable there, so I had to try first year of secondary school at Presby Commercial. And so I went to first year. I didn't write the common entrance. I went to secondary school first year at where we call Preseko. I did 2 times there before going to Nungwa Secondary School.
So you went to Nungwa Secondary School without common entrance, in other words?
I went to Nungwa Secondary School with a certificate from Presby Secondary School.
What certificate?
I did my first year at Presby Secondary School.
First year of JHS or JSS, you mean?
First year of GC.
Oh, very well. So you mean you had a transfer?
Say.
Okay. So that is what is missing. That is creating that 2-year gap.
Yes, sir.
Very well. But then if you had done a first year already and you did a transfer, that suggests that you go to Form 2. Or do you repeated year 1 again?
Yes, I did. I actually did 2 terms for the first year. I joined them in second year. And so when I got to Nungwa Secondary School, I had a...
Yeah.
Yes.
Very well. So you mean going to Preseko, you entered Preseko year 1 with a common entrance?
Entered Preseko from class 6. I entered Preseko.
They were doing the JSS, the new system, you mean?
Preseko was not doing the new system. Preseko was doing the old system.
That is the O level?
Yes.
So you entered Preseko without writing the common
When I was about going to JHS, because I tried the new system, if you remember, I narrated how I tried the new system. And then when my uncle moved on, so I moved with him. So I didn't write the common entrance or the JHS.
Very well. I'll leave that. You've also indicated you did MA, Human Resource Development,
Yes,
University
sir.
of Cape Coast, from September 2003 to March 2005.
Yes, sir.
Is there any part of it that you would want to take the leave of chairman to amend those records there before I proceed with some questions?
It was a sandwich program.
When did you graduate?
The MA was from 2000 and I graduated in 2005. In fact, it was a 1-year course, and so it was supposed to be 2004.
Honorable Member, so would you want to take the leave of Mr. Chair to amend your records, please?
Having stated it was 2004, leave is accordingly granted.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Now, you indicated earlier that as General Secretary of NALAD, it was a full-time employment. If you come to page 3, where, excuse me, not page 3, sorry, you talked about your leadership, page 8. So let's reconcile page 3 and page 8. Indicates there that you were page 9, rather, go back to page 9. Let's start with page 9. So let's reconcile page 3 and page 9. So second vice president and general secretary. The general secretary bit, you say full-time employment. That has come under your employment history. And then when you come to the second vice president, that is under membership/leadership. So what do you have to say to both?
The second vice bit is an elected position. And so I contested that before becoming the general secretary.
Okay. Is there anything you would want to amend?
Page 9.
Well, on both, I mean, look carefully. We'll skip that, and maybe later you can take chair's leave to check. I just don't want to.
Page 9.
Yeah, 9 and 3. Okay, so just check that, and we'll come back to it. Anyway, my colleague Ahmed Shaib Jerry had referred to President Trump's inaugural address, where he stated that the policy of the United States under his administration will change in a definition of gender, that a man will be a man, a woman, the very natural state. Do you share in this opinion?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Like I earlier said, it's in line with our constitution, and so I share in that.
Very well. You were in Parliament between 2021 and 2025 January 6th. That is the 8th Parliament. You were.
Yes, sir.
That's a fact. Now, you are aware that some of our colleagues took the view that Ghana would have to legislate on these LGBT issues to make clear to the world our position on this matter.
Yes, sir.
And you're also aware that in view of that, the law was passed.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Right. So let me pick your thoughts on this, because you are going into a ministry that is likely to take up this matter. His Excellency, the President of the Republic, has shared some views. One of it was to the effect that our value system in our schools has broken down. Our value system has broken down. And should we tackle our value system and reintroduce our value system in our schools, and the children are able to pick these up, perhaps there will be no need at all to even legislate on it. What is your view on this?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think I had indicated to our colleague that for the legal aspect, where I think because you referred to that one, he went into asking whether it would be without the law. I said I leave that, or if the law had to go through the process all over again. I left that to the legal brains. But as to teaching the children our family value system, I think there will be no Ghanaian here who wouldn't want that. All of us would want our kids to be identified with their Ghanaianness, if there's anything like that. So that if you teach, I said that was more sustainable, so that they identify who they are, and then they will take a decision when there's right or wrong. They will be able to know who they are, and that will define them.
So, are you for the value system being inculcated in our children, being incorporated in our curriculum, or you are for the law to enforce it?
I stick with what His Excellency said. I think he did not rule out the enactment of a law to back it. But I was saying that for sustainability, if it is imbibed in our children from a younger age, it will help.
Honorable, I know I'm staying a bit longer with you, but bear with me. The practice since 1997 has always been that members of the committee get 3 questions and have opportunity to get follow-up questions as it pleases the chair. The leader being the ranking by practice since 97 through to Honorable Che Mensah, Honorable Bagbin, Honorable Harun Edrusu, and now my time, is that leaders have unlimited, because we have a duty to ask better questions and policy. So, well, I will end very soon. Okay? I just want us to appreciate that. It's not that I'm saying too long with you, but it's the work I have to do. And I don't mean going personally or delaying you. I just need to understand some broader issues for your own good. Is that okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
But leader, take into consideration she's a member of your committee. This very committee, she's a member.
Honorable, you were an assembly, you were a presiding member. Were you an elected presiding member, elected assembly member, or you were a government appointee?
I was a government appointee.
Your NDC manifesto. This women banking policy, what really is your understanding of it? What really is your understanding of women in banking?
Thank you very much. My understanding is not maybe, okay, let me rephrase it. My understanding of the women banking program is that women-owned banks, women beneficiaries of the same bank, which will be more flexible, introduced at the district level, and women will have more flexible terms, less interest or lower interest rates to be able to support their businesses. So economically bringing the women up. And for me, I think for women like me, it is a laudable idea.
So let me have clarity, because the ordinary Ghanaian woman will be interested in this matter. So let's bring clarity to it. When we talk of a bank, the understanding in the ordinary meaning of it, the literalists would understand it to mean that a bank, properly so called, with a license from the Bank of Ghana, own and being in operation. So I would now, with the benefit of this background, ask you very specifics, because you were definitely part of the manifesto committee that put
An
this together.
assumption.
Pardon?
An assumption.
Okay, so then let me put it direct. Were you part of the manifesto committee on gender?
No, please.
Were you at all involved in any gender issues relative to your manifesto?
Not really.
Have you read the gender policy of your party as contained in its manifesto? Have you?
Yes.
Have you read this aspect of this woman in banking?
Yes.
Very well. So now, since we are going to deal with Women's Bank, what is your understanding of what we read, the Women's Bank? What is your understanding?
It is capacitating women to be able to be economically independent and also build their businesses to reduce vulnerability from where I come from.
So it means that the state is going to be a promoter of.
Yes.
So the state would promote the registration of a company called Women's Bank, correct?
Mr. Chair, I had earlier stated that a part of it is also the Ministry of Finance work. And so some of the details will go into the ministry's work.
So the Ghanaian woman should expect that a bank will be established, licensed by the Bank of Ghana, with branches in all districts as you indicated.
Yes, a bank will be established.
Should they expect that bank to be established this year, next year, or when?
I think this will be clearer when the Minister of Finance comes to read the budget. I'm expecting that it will be captured.
Now, Honorable Member, let me ask you this. You are the Member of Parliament for Krowo. That is Teshi.
Wa.
Krowo is Nungwa, and then Lejokuku is
Teshi.
Right. Do you live in Teshi or you live in Nungwa?
I live in Nungwa.
You live in Nungwa. Where you live in Nungwa, is it your personal property or is it rented property?
Personal property.
When you say personal property, do you mean you bought the land and built on it, or you bought the house, the property?
Bought the land and built on it.
The land you bought, did you buy it from the chiefs or a third-party developer?
I bought it from a chief.
Chairman, I shall bring my questions to an end on this point and thank my respected colleague for her patience and so far the commitment so far. I shall count on your experience thus far in managing the ministry. All other matters shall be pursued on the floor of the House. I wish you well. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ranking Member and the Minority Leader. Honorable members, let me recognize the presence of our revered chiefs, opinion leaders, and some elders here to give moral support to the nominee. On my list is His Royal Majesty, King Professor Odaifio Wellenchi III, Paramount Chief of the Nungua Traditional Area and President of the Greater Accra Regional House of Chiefs. Ngenge Tetewaka III, Paramount Chief of the Pram Traditional Area. We have Becholo Ni Ashite Akamfram the third, Teshi Manche, Ni Otukwe the second, Nungua Adontin, a representative of the Numo Gwabu Wulomo Siche. We have Janet Momo Oakley. She is the mother of the nominee. We have Reverend Dr. Benjamin Kwame Danso, Chairman NDC Kroa Constituency. The clergy, Nungua. We also have Major Christine Oko and the spouse. We have Dr. Afis Zakaria, Chief Director, Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection. We have members of the civil society organizations here, and we have Honorable Assembly members of Kroa. Is that correct? Kroa, very well. Municipal Assembly. Bear with me. I am unaware. Let me use the opportunity to thank the nominee for attending upon the committee and providing answers to questions posed. Surely, you would hear from the committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Grateful.
You are hereby discharged.
Of power, adding to your options, knowing that quality and standard remains intact, and our content, which is accepted as truth and accuracy every day, is accessible on the go. Access your favorite daily graphic and our weeklies: The Mirror, Graphic Business, Graphic Showbiz, Junior Graphic,